So why don't you give everybody a little bit of a background? And some people might not know you. I'm sure a lot of people do. But why don't you give us a little bit of background, like where you started? Because I know you started in like events, correctly? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Kind of. I think that's kind of what gave me like a big like name, is just like I sold like 3,000 tickets to a first annual craft beer festival.
Yeah.
That was like one of my, although I had many like success stories, that was like my biggest one, was selling that many into like a first time event. Although I still do a lot of events, most of the events I do now are like for doctors, for like webinars or luncheons and seminars and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so basically like a lot of people probably in here, I started because an ad from Dan Henry, you know, in his FAF program back when that was it back in the day. I know you were as well. And
no, I was even before that. That's what everybody kind of, so when everybody says, oh, we're part of their beta program, it's like, no, I was part of this real beta program.
Oh, no, I didn't mean the beta, but you know.
No, so I was like technically grandfathered into everything else. Even though I literally never even went through any of the other trainings. I did webinar in a weekend with him, but that was it. Like I literally just did his first teachings when he first started, and then webinar in a weekend, and then I went to I almost said ASCON. I went to AdCon just because I was like, oh, okay, I got an email this time, and that's about it. So
yeah.
But yeah. Oh, look, I just saw your chat message. I'm like, who's chatting on our Zoom?
Yeah.
But anyway,
so that's kind of how I started. I was actually I worked a corporate job for a couple of years doing sales, and then I quit that and went to Costa Rica for like 4 to 5 months and was working at a hostel.
Nice.
And in this hostel was just all these backpackers and travelers, and I would meet people that were literally gone for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. And I'm like, how do you still have money?
Yeah.
And then
there's a whole internet out there.
They were working online, and I was literally Googling like how to make money online. And then I saw Dan Henry's ad pop up and clicked on it and got retargeted for months, finally bought it, and I've kind of been here ever since.
Is that the only teaching you took, really?
No, he was the first one, but I'm in several, like, you know, Jeff's, Nick Robbins, and kind of just, you know.
But that like launched you to like kind of get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Cool. So we met a little while ago in Fort Lauderdale at, what's the name of that conference?
Bob Manget's.
Yeah, that one.
Agency Influencer Live,
yeah, and we had talked about, you know, the dental world and how I have a dentist, and he actually just came on the live yesterday, and I wanted you to watch it. You can only stay on for 10 minutes, but he actually mentions a program, because I know I've heard you before say that you have issues with the booking portion of it, and he said he had just found a program that morning, and he had sent it to me that morning, that will solve the booking problem for you and will integrate directly with their systems, plus it's super cheap. So he's like, if digital marketers partnered up with this super cheap program and then offered that as a complete service, like you'd be solving all their problems.
Man, that's great.
Yeah, so you definitely have to check it out.
I'm gonna need to look that up.
Yeah, but what I'm interested is in how the hell did you make over $40,000 for your dental client with only $1,500 in ad spend? Like, that's insane. That's great.
Yeah.
I know that dentists make a lot of money, but that's still a huge ROI.
Yeah, so with dentists, like I've done several offers. Like I've tried implants, I've tried whitenings, I've tried Invisalign, braces, kind of like a variety of things. And I always have the best success doing a high-end offer, simply because even if somebody comes in or interested in high-end offer, even if they're not a good fit, like Invisalign, for example, not everybody can get it.
Yeah.
You know, you'll get a ton of other, you know, services and treatments as well. So I say just do the big stuff and you'll have a ton of downsell opportunities.
Well, that's what I asked my dentist client yesterday, what is the best offers that have worked for you? Because he's been doing it for a while, and he's one of those people that's always open to trying things. And he said he's like implants and what he called clear aligners, which is Invisalign. But he does clear aligners because it's the same thing, but Invisalign's like a trademark. But he actually prints them 3D inside his office. So he cuts that entire cost by thousands and thousands of dollars, and he can literally charge the same thing that Invisalign is charging you, in his office. And now you actually have dental supervision rather than trying to do it yourself.
Yeah, and
But he
much
did
higher profit
say-
margins. I saw that
Yeah.
on the video. That was
He
awesome.
did say the two best offers were Invisalign and implants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And, this one, we were basically promoting braces or Invisalign because some people may want others. Older people typically want Invisalign because they're in their workforce. They don't want to have these metal braces, but kids that are younger don't really care.
Yeah.
And so we gave the option of both. And one thing that I always recommend is not only marketing kids, because braces aren't only for kids, but open it up to everybody. And I even had a part in my ad copy where it was like, guess what? Braces and Invisalign are not just for kids.
Yeah.
To
I know
letting them
people in their 30s and 40s that still have braces.
Exactly.
They're more self-conscious than kids are going to be about their teeth, so they want it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so really just opening up to everybody, targeting, I did anywhere from targeting parents to targeting just age, sex, location. I don't really do much interest targeting. I tried it, didn't really work.
Doesn't work. Not for local business, it works obviously for e-commerce and like certain strategies, like maybe Dan Henry strategies and stuff like that. But for every time I've tried for local businesses, if you're doing a like 5 to 8 mile radius, 10-mile radius, you're just narrowing down way too much. It's not going to convert as high. Yeah.
And, just like anything, it's always a numbers game. And I was getting leads for like $1 to $3, which is just, it was awesome. Yeah. And that was just the ClickFunnels landing page. Unfortunately, now that ad got approved disapproved months later.
Why is that? Why do you think?
Because I was calling out an audience. How would it feel to
do this
more
or
confident and have a smile you can be proud of? And
I'm surprised I got approved in the first place.
I know. And for the longest time, I ran it for like 6 months. I just refused to touch it. I wouldn't touch the budget. I wouldn't touch anything that was Facebook associated because I knew it would eventually get shut down. And I still have an ad that is approved using the same concept. It's just instead of like, and so after speaking with the Facebook rep on like why it was disapproved, it was like, because I was calling out somebody and if they have these conditions, they may feel bad. It's basically what the rep said. So instead of saying like, how would it feel to have a smile you can be proud of, one that's white, one that's, whatever you're solving, whether it's whitening or straightening or whatever it may be, is just saying and focusing on what you do to help them. So, hey, I'm Dr. Smith and we help straighten teeth, brighten smiles. And instead of telling them on the problems they have, if you focus on how you can solve those problems and what you do, then you can get it approved. And so I basically just reworded it and, it worked. And
actually, that reminds me of last night we were doing my first agency challenge. Well, this is actually the second group, which is a 6-week agency challenge. And the first week is branding, but there's always like 3 questions I always make sure that any ad, website, whatever it is you're doing needs to have, which is, what do you do, right? So obviously the dentist is going to be the dentist, but how are you going to make their life better, right? And that's kind of that concept, like how are you going to solve their problems? How are you going to how is your product going to make their life better? Like that's the question that I feel like a lot of people don't ask or answer. Yeah. So that's 100%. What you did essentially in the ad.
Yeah. Did some customer research and stated those problems, said, this is what we do. I'm Dr. Smith and we help these problems. It's not just for kids. And this is what you can expect. I even said kind of what they can expect out of it. I even said, it's a free consultation. It includes every single thing, which can be, a consultation, an exam, doctor support defining, panoramic x-rays, listing everything. And then I even said, afterwards, if this treatment is right for you, you can get, treatments as low as $99 a month.
Yeah. So like a downsell.
Well, that way, when they come in, I'm pre-framing the dentist so they at least know some type of ballpark. And again, that's as low as, so most people probably won't pay that. But if you only need a little bit of straightening, it could be as low as that.
Oh, I got you. So you're pre-framing it. So how do you, because I know my dentist said that his biggest problem is no-shows. And I think I've heard you talk about the no-shows before. How did you deal? I remember, I think it was you or somebody else who had a solution for that.
Yeah, we had a ton of no-shows as well. I think like our best month, I think we had like 108 appointments. I don't remember the numbers now because this was a couple of months back, but we still had a ton of no-shows. But even with that, the good thing about orthodontics versus like a dental appointment is a
Yeah,
dental appointment really messes up their calendar.
correct.
An ortho one, the visit is only 15 minutes. And
Yeah.
so they say, my guy, he has enough staff where he says, schedule them anytime. I don't care. Just get them in. We'll make
Yeah,
it.
mine actually said they had an extra chair or an extra office, that it was just for that. It's not like their regular dental cleanings or anything was using it. So
Yeah.
if they no-showed, he's like, it's not a big deal, but it's annoying. That's what he said. He's like,
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world, but it is annoying. And like, he still wanted to solve that problem, right?
Yeah. And so basically, we just started sending more reminders, trying to send reminders, 1 week out. Hopefully they don't schedule multiple weeks out, but obviously some people do. We try and always schedule 1 to 3 days of the time they become a lead. Obviously, some people will say, I'm at work, I have I'm on vacation, I can't. If you can't, do it whenever they can, but have it as soon as possible. And then we try and have automated reminders go out 1 week in advance, 48 hours, 24 reminders.
And are those text reminders, or were you calling them?
Text, yeah.
Okay.
And they were supposed to call the day before as well.
And you just set that all up through Zapier, right? Or Zapier?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I always say. The lead follow-up is really important too. I think I have like 3, like a instant one, a 7-day one, and then a month end one if they didn't convert. So, yeah.
And then another thing we would do is at the end of the month, I have these text scripts that I would do on ClickSend. And just blast them based off their status. So on my Google spreadsheet, the database, we have name, number, email, date submitted, which is when they became a lead, and then a status column with a drop down and color coordinated on came to appointment, no showed, scheduled, not interested, canceled, whatever it may be. At the end of the time, depending on their status, we would send a message, whether they didn't answer at all. Hey, thanks for claiming our voucher for this. The promotion's actually ending soon. And before it did, I just wanted to ask if you were still interested, if you want to book an appointment. And before, worded better, but that concept. And then
that's what my month end one is. Yeah. My month end one, I just separate all the ones that the status is unconfirmed or unbooked, and then do the same thing. Send like one bus, like, hey, your thing is going to expire, your voucher, your discount or whatever is going to expire. Use it before it ends. Yeah.
Yep. And then we have another template that we use for no-shows, another that's for canceled, never answered. And so depending on what it is, they get a different message, and then we just blast that out.
Yeah. And so with dentists, like, what do you think is so we all heard the dentist side of things yesterday. I kind of wanted to get the digital marketer side of things. So like, he was like, I'm disheartened because this is what all these digital marketers promise me, and this is what they actually deliver, and we just get bombarded by them. There's so many out there. And he said that somebody had asked, like, what's the biggest way to retain your dental client? And he answered it, but I'm wondering what your answer is without knowing his answer.
Yeah, I'm curious as well, because I haven't watched it, so I don't know.
I know, so that's why I wanted to ask, like, how would you answer that without knowing his answer? Because I'm sure it's the same thing.
I mean, I just try and over deliver, because I know not every lead's going to schedule. I know everybody that schedules not going to. And so although I was guaranteeing them maybe 50 leads, they got to the point where we kept getting great results. So they were paying, $4,000 to $5,000 a month for me. Mm-hmm. And, if I said I'll give you a minimum 200, new patient inquiries, leads, I would give them 350, just because I know that half of those are never going to answer. Some of those are never going to show up, even if they do schedule. And so it was just constantly getting as many people as possible. And for ortho, they said schedule anytime, at least for this guy. I know not every dentist can do that. So he has 4 locations. I was marketing for 3 of them. Gotcha. All kind of in the same town, and just getting as many appointments as possible. And they were selling, I know our best month ever, they had like 72 people come in the door, and I think they sold like 34 or something.
Wow, that's high. That's a lifetime.
Not all of those were for braces or Invisalign. It could have been a cheap whitening, a cleaning, just they sold something, which I think is awesome.
Well, the thing is with dentists, once you get them in, the dentist usually knows how to create that relationship of like, this is family. And how many times do people really hop around a dentist? I know I've had the same dentist forever. Like, unless something really bad happened or you had a horrible experience, for the most part, everyone that I know stays with the dentist they've always been with, or the one they know, right?
Yeah.
Because that environment is like a fostering of a family type environment. So as long as you got them through the door with Invisalign, clear, whitening, whatever, or whitening, whatever, it doesn't matter, because they're used to creating that environment that's going to keep them there long term. So that's just as valuable too. That's my opinion. But
yeah. And another reason I like the high end offers is because they come in the door knowing I don't know what braces or Invisalign costs. I know it's probably going to be costly. And even if it's not right for them, you can say, hey, well, we have this whitening and it's only $200, $400, whatever it may be. And it's much easier to downsell them because they're already coming in with the mindset of, okay, braces is probably going to cost a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
Versus coming in for, hey, come in and get a free whitening with your this. It's much harder to say, by the way, I know you came in for a whitening, but we actually recommend this, which costs $1,800 or $3,000. And they're just kind of shocked by it. So for that reason, I like going high and just working down. Versus the other way around.
Were you charging the $4,000 or $5,000 for all 3 locations or per location?
It was for 3 locations. But I was getting leads at $1 to $3 for months, and so.
Because you were including the ad spend in that.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, but I would spend no more than $1,500.
Yeah, that's still a good return.
I just had such low costs per lead.
Yeah, I just didn't want people thinking that they need to go out there and charge $5,000 to each dentist location. Like it's not gonna work, guys.
No.
Like
and again, I started with him at $1,500.
Yeah.
And then
without ad spend.
So the first time it was $1,000. His card was on file for $500.
Okay.
We did that for 2 months, 3 months, and then there was 1 month where we went up to $3,500. Like $2,500 was me, $1,000 was for ad spend, and I only needed to spend like $350.
Yeah.
And so I realized like I could have profited like $700 more if I included it. And so ever since then, I was like, hey, by the way, it's really hard to keep up with, all the clients. So I'm actually just you're going to pay the same amount, but we're just going to do it all one fee. And he's like, okay, no problem. And so now if I over deliver, I actually get more profit out of it.
Yeah. I go back and forth with that. So I keep them separate just because, the majority of my clients, their business model is very different. It's membership based. So they go through these highs and lows of business of like influx of money. So when I'm struggling to like sell them or get them to pay me $2,000 a month plus ad spend, when I sit there and say, okay, your ad spend is going to be controlled by Facebook, and you have the flexibility to this month $500, next month $1,000, next month $3,000 or whatever, up and down, versus if I just said, okay, it's $3,000 every month. You know what I'm saying? Like so that's kind of not my downsell, but like my negotiating back pocket tool. And also when I think about it, I'm like, 15 clients and have to manage what's everybody spending and how much money I've left and all that. I'm like, that's too much accounting for one person. Like I don't feel like it. And you have a partner, I think, right? Or is it just you?
So I have 2 VAs.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to. Well, Tasha's been helping me with my agency a little bit too, but for the most part, I do my agency. She helps me with the course stuff. But yeah, it gets overwhelming.
It does.
What would you say is like the biggest thing you would want people to learn about the dental industry or even like the digital marketing world? Because I think you've learned a lot.
Yeah, ad copy is huge. I mean, just stating their problems and offering a solution to it in any business, anywhere. That's really what it comes down to. If you're not proud of your smile, here's what we can do to fix it.
Yeah.
If you have back pain, here's what we can do to help eliminate that. If you have, whatever it may be, is really just doing that and kind of using their language to kind of speak to them to really hit home.
I actually used an ad one time where the girl in the photo was like this, like covering her mouth. And it's like, are you embarrassed about your smile or something like that?
Which you definitely can't do now.
Which you definitely can't do now, but it worked. It worked then. That was just like that was earlier this year too.
Yeah.
But it worked. But yeah, now, oh God, Facebook's just like hell right now. It's killing me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'd say ad copy. It really comes down to ad copy. I mean, my landing pages probably convert around 30%, which I think is pretty good. Bots, you can probably get higher than that, to be honest, but I don't really mess with them too much.
Yeah.
Lead ads, all that. It really just, whatever works for you. I know ClickFunnels works, so I just duplicate my same funnel, change the logo, change the headline, and I'm good to go.
You do a Jeff Miller.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't,
Exactly, yeah.
ClickFunnels has just never worked really well for me. Like it just feels, at least for my clients or whatever, or maybe I just don't build them well enough. Like they don't convert as high. I've always like, because I'm all about split testing and everything, but for me, it's just not. But if it works, and especially if it's bringing in $40,000 in revenue for a client, that means it's working.
Yeah, so they were pretty much charging most people $175 per treatment per month for their braces or Invisalign.
Yeah, that's great.
And the thing about braces is you don't just get it and stop showing, because who wants to just have braces for months and months when you could have gotten them off 6 months prior?
Yeah.
And so their retention is just way high, and you pretty much are guaranteed them to show up to their appointments. And if they don't, they're going to call to reschedule as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to just walk around and have braces for 3 years when they could maybe get it off in 18 months.
Yeah.
And so when you look at that for month after month, not only that, but also the people that get whitenings, implants that also show up, like that wasn't even counting that potential that could have shown up then.
Yeah.
This is just based off the people that started their first treatment, and as well as whatever additional revenue was generated based off downsales.
I know I have access, but most people are not going to get this access. But like my franchise gives me full access into their systems. So I really like to go in there and say, yes, I brought in 40 people at an average rate of, let's say, $50, $60. But when I actually look at the invoices, my numbers triple, because people, bought other stuff, or they brought in a couple, and I look at everyone's invoice and I'm like, oh, we thought we only spent $500, but in reality, you just made $2,000 off of like the little bit that you thought I brought in.
Yeah.
And I've called bullshit on a lot of people too doing that, because they're like, oh, we only converted so many, and they only brought, we only converted 10, and they only spent $500. I'm like, okay, let's go look. I have access to the system. Let's go look at the system. And in reality, 30 came in, plus all the money that was spent extra. It ended up being over $2,000. So
yeah,
I love it. But not everybody has that ability. Sometimes clients will will pull a sales report for you, so that helps. It's just a way, like numbers backs you up, because what I find is a lot of times is they just like to call bullshit on you that it's not working, because maybe they're not measuring it correctly.
Yeah. So same for you, kind of. My guy was local. I actually went into his office and sat for like 4 hours searching everybody, helping his staff count this up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we had come up with.
It was worth it, in the sense that now you don't have to do that every month, but if you have to do it every once in a while to prove that you're valuable and what you're doing is working, because guaranteed they're not measuring it correctly.
Yeah, they weren't.
It must look really bad. So if you guys need to take the extra step and ask, hey, like Brett did, can I sit with you and let's crunch the numbers just to make sure this is working? And the way I phrase it is like, let's make sure it's working for your benefit, Like, I'm not doing this so I look cool. I'm doing this to make sure your dollars are going to the right place. Then, like, they never say no. Like, I've never had anybody say no to me.
Yeah.
To the point where now they gave me the axe, and they're like, go look it up yourself whenever the hell you want. We have nothing to really hide. I mean, you're not going to steal our business. I really don't want
it. And another obviously you can't do this if it's not local, but I know I really wanted to see that, because I knew some of the numbers, they just didn't seem quite right. And I wanted to kind of see more proof. So I sat down with them, and we sat and counted everything. And I said, plus when I come in, I'll help give additional training. I'll help with the sales scripts. I'll let them know when people call, this is what to say. If they have a hesitation, this is how you can overcome it. So it's going to be beneficial for all of us. And I'll go ahead and do that while I'm already in your office.
I was saying, did you charge an extra $2,000 to do that?
I did have an upsell for that. They had a lot. I worked for them for several months, and they started going down the conversion rate from leads to the percentage that were actually scheduled. And so we noticed a decrease, and it was because they had staff changes, and the girl who was great at the front quit. And so they were actually paying me extra to find and hire somebody and train them.
Yeah.
I was just going to post on Indeed and find somebody. And then afterwards they said they found somebody. So instead, since they had already paid me for additional to find and hire somebody, I just said, okay, I'll go in and train them for like a couple hours. So
my point is,
I didn't get paid on it.
Yeah, you're not being the Facebook ads person. You're being the marketer that solves their problems. And that's what I think I've preached that in the last 3 to 4 lives, is everybody only wants to run Facebook ads for their clients, but you can't do that. You can't just dump leads on their lap, or that's how you not have clients long term. Just like my dentist yesterday. So what he had said makes him keep people that work with him or digital marketers or whatever forever is creating that relationship. Like if I feel like you're my buddy, I'm gonna have a much harder time having to fire you because I think it's not converting, versus if I say, hey Brett, we're buddies, but you know what, guess what, it's not converting the way we thought, why don't we try something else? And that's probably why he's been working with me for years too, because we're buddies. Like, and that's the relationship I have with all my clients too, where they watch my lives, they watch my stuff, that like I'm not hiding anything. I've created this friendship that like, this is my life. I'm here to support you. Yes, you got to pay me, but like,
yeah,
that's the secret to long-term commitment. I guess that's the same thing with marriage, right?
100%.
You gotta be best friends if you want to be married for a long time.
I sent all my clients and clients I've been chasing Christmas cards. Any client that stays with me 3 months, I send them this shirt.
Nice.
Anytime they do 6 months, 12 months, I haven't had one that's 12 months, but I have for 6. I have these different things that I send them as a thank you.
12 months, they need a trophy. The 12K club.
Pretty much, yeah. And so it's just nurturing them, when it's holidays, I texted all of them on Thanksgiving. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. Even my prospects that I've been chasing,
Yeah. It's just a really quick text. That's it. I mean, how many clients does everybody have? Really, most of you guys have 3, 4, maybe you're lucky 5. I have 15, and it's so easy to send 15 text messages out. It's really
10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. It takes 10 minutes and it makes such a difference. Yeah. And it's the guy said, you make that relationship. Let me see if there's any questions, because I really haven't even been watching. Traffic sucks here too. Yeah. Brett is super quiet. No, I think that was earlier. We fixed that problem. I hear it fine. Super low sound. Oh, maybe it is. No, we're all good. We're good.
Send me the name of the booking software. I'm assuming he means something your dentist recommended.
You know what, guys? Watch the live because you should be watching that live anyways. It was a really great live. It was done last night at 5:00 in the same group. So if you're watching this live, you can watch that one. It's the mystery dental client. Just go watch that. It's totally worth it. And he mentions it there. I don't remember. It's called Local something. But he said you partner with that company that's super cheap and it solves all the problems. Let's see. Can hear both of you great. Wow, I'm super behind.
One said, what kind of coaching do you show the dentist in closing implant client? So for mine, we were really, although I've done implant, the biggest success that I've had have actually been off Invisalign and braces. And I just give them sales scripts, give them training. I let them know here's the most common hesitations. If they are, here's something you and your staff can look at. So what's the price? You shouldn't offer that then. Everybody's different. Come in and that'll be covered in your free appointment anyway. And we'll be able to apply the best promotions that we have. Does Tuesday or Thursday work best?
Yeah.
And it's always going in for the close. And that's just kind of the key takeaway. It's just always push that appointment.
Yeah. And if you can give scripts to the front desk, even better too.
Yeah.
Because I see that dental practices, their front desk, they're like a family. It's not like people are in and out all the time, but you give them scripts and they do it pretty well, as opposed to like my spas has a much higher turnover rate. So it's that's why I definitely have scripts for those type of people, because you have to keep training each time ones come in and out. So Sada asked, which tool do you use for text reminders? I use ClickSend and Zapier. What do you use?
I use the same.
Yeah. So Matt, pair the two, because Zapier you can only use, it does have text message, but you can only use it with one number, like yourself. ClickSend, it allows you to send it unless you match it with Trello, and I just don't want to get all complicated. So I match it with ClickSend.
Zapier rhymes with happier. Yes, it does.
Yeah. Well, because I've always called it Zapier.
Zapier.
Like this year, I heard everybody Zapier. I'm like, I don't even know which one's correct, but I've always
actually, to be honest, I don't either.
I thought it was Zapier because zap, like you zap the info over. Like that's how it made sense in my head. So then I'm like, what the hell is Zapier? Like that doesn't sound right to me. How long do most dentists stay with you? Well, it depends on the relationship you build. But what about you, Brett? What have you found?
For him, it's like 6 months, and then we're switching offers right now, so it's actually not running right now. And then we've got a call. We've actually been playing phone tag, so we're starting back up. But
what you guys realize is you don't have to. Your clients can always be your clients, but let's say there's like a month. They're like, oh, we can't really do this month. Just be like, okay, no problem. Let's rebound next month and the following month, and you need to keep doing the follow up. say, okay, are you ready this month? Do you want to try a different offer this month? And if you give them like a little, you feel like you're going to lose them, but if you give them a little break, usually they'll see where like, oh, everything died again. Okay, I need to bring you back. So then when you do follow up with them a month later, 2 months later, they're like, yeah, thanks for following up. Let's start it again. So don't think just because a client's like, I can't do this anymore, doesn't mean you lose them. I have actually like an exit checklist, which I didn't think was valuable to people, but I mentioned it to them and they're like, can we have it? Can we have it? But it's kind of that creating that relationship of no problem, just remember this and this, here's all your accounts. And by the way, if you ever need me, I'm here for you, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. But it works. So Brett says for high ticket dentistry, or Pedro says to you, hi Brett. For high ticket dentistry, do you have an example of a great offer? Does financing play a major role? Have you done event seminars for dentists? So Pedro, we kind of talked about it. But what I will say is I know we had talked one time or it was about the membership. Remember the membership thing? Did that ever fly off?
For a dentist?
Yeah, it was like the insurance, it was like an insurance plan that they were doing in-house or something.
Oh, yeah. So I helped create their in-house dental plan. Basically what it is, it's not insurance. It's basically if you join our in-house dental plan, you pay X dollars a month. I've seen as low as $99 for an individual to $250 an individual. And then there's always a family option as well, which is a little bit more. And then individual, it's obviously just for you. Family is anybody that's in your family. By paying this one-time yearly membership fee, you get X percentage off all these fees. You can either have a flat rate fee, let's say 15%, 20% off any of these services, or it's kind of tiered based off it is. So for braces, it may be 15%. For implants, it may be 30%. For whitening, it may be 10%. Now I'm just making up numbers, but you get the idea. And it's a really easy sell because if you get something high end like braces and you save 20%, 30%, whatever they agree on, that itself can pay the difference of that $200 a one-time fee that they're paying.
Right.
And so it's really a no-brainer. And
they actually save money in the long run doing it.
Not only do you save money, but the dentist sees longevity in their patients, because why would they go anywhere else when they already have this in-house dental plan with you that's not only for what they signed up for, but for all these other things as well. And so the lifetime value of a patient just dramatically increases.
Yeah, I know I had seen that somewhere at some point. And I know my dentist, we had created that too. And I created like the brochures and stuff like that for that. And and he still has it. It works pretty well. Is it not proper to charge $2,000, which includes service fee and Facebook ads, as I feel collecting card details might be challenging for Facebook charge these guys. So I have a credit card authorization form. And it says on there, you are authorizing the following amount to be your monthly ad spend budget to be charged directly through Facebook. But this is the form authorizing me to put it in a Facebook ad account. That's how I get around that. And there is a stipulation in there that says this ad budget can change and will be, validated through emails. So meaning like every time you change the ad budget per month, we'll have an email backing that up. But I do, when they hand over the credit card, I make them sign a credit card authorization form. But he's saying, is it kosher to charge $2,000 ad spend and Facebook fees?
I think you should always charge more than what's on ad spend, because it's a lot more to setting up a Facebook ad. It's also the follow-ups, the structures, the funnels, and the expertise and the guidance that you're helping them through, throughout the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like 2,000 is a little low if you're including ad spend in that.
Yeah, it depends. What it is and kind of what you're offering them. I have some where I'll say, we'll guarantee 30. I have some where I say I'll guarantee 200. So
yeah, it all guarantees, or it all matters on your guarantees.
Yeah, it depends. You have totally different pricing structures.
Well, we're talking about specifically like dental industry, right? So my spa's not going to count. Spa's going to be like all my spa locations, everybody pays different amounts. So it all depends. And also different areas makes a big difference. So a spa in New York versus a spa here in South Florida, the market's just very different. In New York, it's much higher ticket. So you can pay more too. So
I actually pitched a dental spa on Tuesday in West Palm Beach.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
And how'd that go?
Good. I think they'll
Yeah.
sign. They're reviewing it over so we'll
Cool.
see. Yeah, but yeah.
Well, good luck with that. All right, guys. If you have any other questions, I'm gonna wrap this up because I gotta go do some other stuff. But thank you for your time and thanks for jumping on. I know I was like bothering you for a little while before the New Year's, and we finally got you.
No, I'm glad.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it actually worked out perfect. We're like, I had my dentist yesterday, and now you hear from the digital marketer side, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right, cool. So if you guys want, follow Brett, ask him questions. He's here to help. He's a really cool guy, and he knows his stuff. So thank you.
Cool.
Bye, Brett. Bye, Brett. Just said bye, Brett. Bye.